Hey guys, Tim Plague here, and thought I should do this video. This video is going to be two things. It's going to be my review, my impression, my opinion on Suicide Squad, and it's also going to be my opinions, impressions on something that I think is a huge problem, which we'll get to that later. So, saw Suicide Squad, and I liked the movie. Didn't love it. I liked it better than I liked Batman versus Superman, which I liked Batman versus Superman, but there are just fundamental flaws with the movie. The Suicide Squad, the things that I really liked about it was that the characters, the actors playing the characters, they seem to be having fun. And not in a way that, oh, we're making a movie, we're having fun. No, it seemed like that, these characters, these actors inhabited for the run time of the movie, it seemed real. It seemed like these were actual characters that were fleshed out, and there was some care given to the characters. Batman versus Superman, I honestly couldn't say that. And it hurts to say that because Batman is my favorite comic book character, period. And the one good thing that I really loved about Suicide Squad is the brief footage we saw of Batman felt like Batman. And one of my favorite moments of the movie was very brief, the flashback showing how Batman captured Harley Quinn. Him chasing Joker and Harley Quinn through Gotham. Flashback to the animated series. It was awesome. One other thing that I really liked that I was skeptical on after seeing the Justice League footage was the Flash, because I love Grant Gustin as the Flash on the CW. The show itself, the second season was a huge downer for me, but Grant Gustin is awesome at playing Barry Allen in the Flash, and so Ezra Miller, while I have nothing against him, it's just preference. I would like to see Grant Gustin play the character in the movie that he has spent so much time really knocking it out of the park with his performances. But seeing the Flash in this capturing Captain Boomerang was awesome, and it worked. I could see, okay, there's Barry Allen, that's the Flash, that works for me. And it felt so connected. We see Batman, and then we see the Flash in the same movie, and it's awesome. It didn't feel like it felt like it should have felt on a small part to have Batman and Superman in the same movie, but unfortunately that really didn't work well for me, having Batman and Superman in the same movie. That being said, Will Smith as Deadshot, simply amazing. I think he needed this movie. He's been in some not so good ones. He didn't seem like he was having fun in the last couple of performances he had, and he was having fun playing Deadshot, and he brought so much of that Will Smith charisma to the role. It was awesome. And one of my favorite parts is when they let him actually shoot a gun at Bell Rev, and that whole scene was hilarious. It showed who Deadshot was. He was a person who never missed his target, and that's exactly what we saw. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn was awesome. Really loved how they nailed the character. How much she loves the Joker, how crazy she is, just her personality that never really has a serious tone about it, just always crazy. However, that does bring me to a negative. They tried to make it seem like Harley and Joker's relationship was a mutual thing, and anyone who is a real fan of DC Comics So I'm going to put that out there. A real fan of DC Comics, like myself, knows that the Joker does not have love for Harley Quinn. There's a very abusive relationship. He is using her. He manipulates her to get what he wants. And the movie would have you believe that they were, perfect for each other. Match made in heaven, madly in love with each other. And no, that's not what we know. Harley Quinn was created in the Batman animated series, and it was on Showcase in the Batman animated series. The Joker was always yelling at Harley, threatening Harley, over and over, ignoring her. That I didn't like too much. Also, the Joker wasn't in this movie enough for me to get a good read on him to say whether or not I liked Jared Leto's performance. I'm on the fence. Not going to say one way or the other. I have concerns, but nothing too big. Let's see. Viola Davis playing Amanda Waller. Awesome. They didn't explain who Amanda Waller really was in the movie. So when she kills all of those Argus agents who didn't have clearance to know what was going on, it was a bit of a shock. You didn't realize, why she'd do that. I mean, I did, because I know Amanda Waller. It was, spot on performance, spot on, with the actual character herself. Just would have enjoyed some explanation there. I already know what you're going to say about that, but we'll get to that later. Slipknot, waste of a good actor in Adam Beach. I know they had to kill off someone with the explosions in their heads to show, yeah, this is serious. But, whatever. Captain Boomerang was hilarious. Didn't have a huge part. My least favorite spots, not the actors, but the portrayals are, and I'm not going to even talk much about El Diablo. Not as familiar with him as I am Killer Croc. I did not like the overall look of Killer Croc. I would have liked for him to be bigger. And don't say they didn't want to do CG, because Batman vs. Superman, we got a lot of CG with Doomsday. They could have done a CG Killer Croc, and it would have been awesome. Like in Hush or the Arkham games, it would have been great. Maybe not as big, so he fits, but definitely, I mean, it didn't seem like he had anything to do. And then, of course, this may not be a popular thing to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it because it's something that I had an issue with. It's very stereotypical character. I mean, him and Will Smith are the two black male characters who have prominent roles in this movie. And, yeah. He didn't have a lot to say. And it's not that he said dumb things, but the overall portrayal of him and what he wore, things like that. And then the whole thing of him asking for BET as his actual reward for this very life-threatening mission that they had accomplished. Yeah, I had a bit of a problem with that. Certain things with Diablo, but again, I don't know much about the actual character, so I'm not going to talk about something and criticize it that I don't have that much of a, that much knowledge of. So just going to skip past him. Jay Hernandez did a great job portraying the character. Hate that they killed him off. But yeah, the performances are great. Great performances that kept me in the movie, in all honesty. That is the thing about the movie that I enjoyed the most, were the performances, particularly from Will Smith and Margot Robbie, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, great. Now, overall grade that I'll give this movie, I would give it a C, maybe a C+. Reason why I would give it that grade is because, as good as the performances were, certain things irritated me about the script. That being, it didn't seem like they wanted it to end up the way that it did, with the Enchantress being the villain. Nothing wrong with the Enchantress being the villain, but there was no motivations given. Sure, Amanda Waller has her heart, but the overall plan didn't seem like it was motivated just from Amanda Waller having her heart. Also, we're supposed to feel sentimental or sad about the possible death of June Moon. No, didn't care. Didn't care about Rick Flagg's reaction to it because they did not do a great job of establishing their relationship. Sure, they let us know they were in a relationship. That's not what I'm saying, but you know, if you want people to care about two characters, show them in this relationship. Show them, you know, having relationship issues. And I know you can't, you know, overstuff this movie. I get that. But that's why I think it would have worked a lot better if the Suicide Squad was going after the Joker. You know, then it could have gave Harley Quinn more to do in the movie. Another thing, going back to how we established Batman and the Flash, neither one of them or Wonder Woman showed up during this crisis. Pretty big crisis. I'm pretty sure if Batman would have seen this happen, which I'm pretty sure he had to, or the Flash for that matter, they would have come to help. Suicide Squad, normally they do things in the comics, at least overseas, away from the U.S., where the government doesn't have any forces, but yeah. So, you know, those are just things, but I mean, it seems small, but here's the thing that I don't get. A lot of DC fans, this is getting to the other thing. A lot of hardcore DC fanboys will say that, oh, you don't get this movie. It's a movie made for comic book fans, or it's a movie that, you know, is not made for critics. You're not smart enough to get with. Okay, no, you can stop there because I'm a huge DC comic book fan. I'm a huge comic book fan. DC and Marvel. Batman is my favorite comic book character, period. And when you're making a movie, it's all well and good if you don't want to make the comic books appear on the screen. However, things in comic books don't always work on screen. And, you know, you say this is a great comic book movie. Well, I don't think it's a great comic book movie. It's an okay comic book movie, or it's a good comic book movie and an okay movie. Now, I can see the dislike button being hit a lot here, but, you know, biggest thing DC fanboys, not DC fans, but DC fanboys love to say how critics are being paid by Marvel and Disney to give DC movies bad reviews, even though the Dark Knight trilogy, particularly the Dark Knight, got great reviews, and other Marvel properties like the Fantastic Four, sure, Fox has it, but it's a Marvel property, terrible reviews. Amazing Spider-Man 2, terrible reviews. Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire, terrible reviews. So you have these, and you know, it's very funny that they now are coming out of the woodworks. When The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, they were saying nothing. Those movies got great reviews because they deserved it. They were great movies, even if you took a Batman out of them. Marvel made one of the best comic book movies, in my opinion. My opinion, just my lowly opinion. I know DC fanboys, the very militant and, you know, who gives a crap about your opinion? Those people. They really don't care. But my opinion, Captain America Civil War was the best comic book movie that I've seen, as far as giving me comic book things to make me sit there and just feel like a kid reading a comic book, but watching it on screen. You know, it was simply one of the best things I had ever seen. And kind of like how I felt watching The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins. You know, kind of like how I felt watching the Tim Burton Batman movie and the original Batman Returns, even Batman Forever. And as a kid, admittedly, while watching Batman and Robin, there were moments there too. There were things given, but when you look beyond all of that and you just look at the beats where these critics are coming from, see, critics, not all critics that review movies, are people who read comic books. So they're looking at it as a movie. Now, you don't respect their opinions. I know you're not going to respect mine. I'm not talking about people who dislike Marvel movies or certain Marvel movies because, you know, I like them. So ultimately, it doesn't bother me if anyone else does or doesn't. I like them. I'll watch them as many times as I want. A lot of people like them. That's why they make as much money as they do. Suicide Squad made a lot of money. Batman vs. Superman made a lot of money. Man of Steel, a lot of money. So some people like them. So just take solace in that. Not everyone has to like your movie that you love. Not everyone does. You know, get over yourselves. I mean, it's ridiculous, kind of. I mean, there are people who have been doing movie reviews and giving their opinions of movies for years. And now they're getting death threats and things like that. I'm not saying it hasn't happened before, but it's out there so much more now. They're getting death threats. People are just disliking their videos without even watching their videos or paying any attention to what's said in the videos because they don't think it's a perfect movie or love it as much as these other people do. That something's wrong with them. You know, I mean, it sucks. And I mean, DC is a company, I'm pretty sure they don't feel as strongly about it as you guys do. And, you know, I mean, I would hate to have fans like that. I really would. But whatever. Marvel is doing something. They know their characters. They love their characters. They respect their characters. And that's coming across on screen. In addition to that, they are making a cohesive script for each movie. And not every Marvel movie has been perfect, believe me. First time I saw Iron Man 3, I wanted to walk out of the theater. It angered me so much. Iron Man, at this point, Spider-Man has always been my favorite Marvel character. Iron Man in the movies I really loved because of Robert Downey Jr.'s performance and just what they did with him. I wanted to walk out of the theater because of how they portrayed Iron Man's best villain, the Mandarin. And it's something that still bugs me to this day. But, I mean, it comes to a point where accept the reality of it. DC, and I understand you want DC to succeed because you've been reading the comic books for so long and you feel so strongly about it. I get that. I want them to succeed too. Batman vs. Superman, I love The Dark Knight Returns. Even though this wasn't an adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns, they did take some inspiration from it. And I love The Dark Knight Returns, mainly because I don't really like Superman as a comic book character, and Batman beats up Superman. I really wanted to see that. But I didn't get what I wanted out of that. I mean, it was an 8-minute fight, and I don't care who you are. I don't care what you got to say to convince yourself. The fact that Martha Kent and Martha Wayne both share the name Martha is not a good enough reason to end that fight. It's not. It is stupid. I'm sorry. It is dumb. It is ridiculous. It is insulting that the people who made the movie put that in the movie and expected people to just like it so much. I honestly think the people who are defending it defend it because they feel like they have to defend it. And if you love that fact, there's no problem. Love that fact. I've only seen the movie once. I'm not watching the ultimate cut. I paid to see what they released in theaters. It's not my fault they decided to cut out a lot of explanation to add CGI and action and things like that that make no sense in the overall arc of the stories. So, and I say stories because there's about 5 of them in that one movie. And none of them really were completed. That being said, you know, when you see videos on YouTube of reviews and people are just putting out their opinions, you know, and they're not criticizing the movie, but I watched a very unbiased review of Suicide Squad. And similar to my review of it, but I mean, they praised the movie where it needed to be praised, and they criticized it where it needed to be criticized. You know, the DC fanboys aren't the only ones who are out there that they're making these movies for. If that's the case, they're never going to make a lot of money at all. So they're never going to be able to keep going with this. But Warner Brothers does not know the characters as well as DC knows these characters. They should let DC be in charge of these characters, and I guarantee you, if Warner Brothers let DC be in charge of these characters, I'm not even saying bring in Christopher Nolan, because I know for some reason, all of a sudden, there are a lot of people who are criticizing what Christopher Nolan did with the Dark Knight trilogy. But if Warner Brothers let DC handle their movies the way Disney is letting Marvel handle their movies, I guarantee you start seeing more critics liking these movies while you enjoy them just as much. Because, believe me, saying that just because Marvel fans are not hardcore DC fanboys, doesn't make any sense. Marvel comic book fans and Marvel comic book fanboys are just as big fans of Marvel comics as you guys are of DC comics, and we're loving our movies, and so are critics. So take that for whatever you want to take it, yeah. But that's the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know a lot of you won't, but whatever. It's something I wanted to put out there. Like the video if you liked it. Hit a thumbs down if you didn't like it. If you want to say whatever you want to say to me, leave it in the comments below. But that's just my thoughts that I felt I had to get off my chest. No disrespect to anybody, because at the end of the day, as long as we're out there making our voices heard, we're going to keep getting these movies. And I think it's awesome. As much as I was disappointed by certain things of Batman vs. Superman, seeing Wonder Woman on screen for the first time was one of the best moments of my life, because I think it is criminal that they haven't made 15 Wonder Woman movies by now, and I'm so excited for 2017 to see that standalone movie. It looks awesome. But anyway, guys, 10th Plague here, giving you some of my thoughts. Hope you appreciated them, and if you didn't, I get it. It's your opinion, and I respect that. But till next time, 10th Plague out. Peace, guys. See you later.